Hi there, this is Freddy. So, with all this Star Wars fever, I wanted to talk a little bit about Star Wars music, specifically about something that John Williams does a lot in Star Wars and other films, and that's called parallel harmony. To show you that, I'm gonna play you this short that I did. It's a Star Wars spoof. It's very short. It's actually a Star Wars and Rush the band spoof. You'll see why. So this is what I'm gonna play you right now. Is just the work print. So it doesn't have the credits print, and it doesn't have a lot of the sounds. Actually, I'm not even playing the sounds and the dialogue, just the music, so you can see what's going on. And please go to fantoons.com. Just press the link. I'm gonna add a link below so you can see the company that made this animation. It's a really cool company. They make a lot of different animations for bands and stuff related to music. It's very fun. So you can see the final product with all the everything mixed down nicely, and the dialogue and the credits and everything else. But for now, let's play this. So here we go. Okay, so that's it. A lot of the stuff that's going on here in the music is parallel harmonies. It's something that John Williams uses quite a lot. What I'm gonna do is just to play you a few sections of this cue and explain a little what's going on. But first, let's talk about parallel harmony and what that means. So basically, parallel harmony is when you have a chord or a structure that you move parallel, you move symmetrically. So if you have a chord like D minor, and you just transpose it to one whole step up, for example, you get E minor, of course. And so you can just keep moving around. It doesn't matter where it doesn't have to be tied to a scale. So for instance, I can just improvise minor chords. So I'm just moving around randomly. So, this is something that you hear a lot in film music. It works very well for suspense, for tension, for mystery. It's a very cool tool, and something that is really nice about it is that it lets you modulate to whatever you want, and it's very flexible. You can go very far to any key by using parallel harmony like this. And something else is that you don't need to do minor chords. You can do any kind of chords. You can do major chords, and you can move around with major chords. You can go even with more complex chord and poly-chords, and then it gets really interesting. And you can mix them too. You can start with a minor progression, then turn to major and mix chords here and there. It's a very cool and very useful concept. For instance, let me play a couple of major stuff. Again, random. One famous quote that is all major chords playing parallel. That's all major. All major. So let me play you the beginning of the piece, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so all that stuff you're very familiar with. It's kind of a spoof of the Imperial March, of course. But if you actually check the chords, it's all minor chords moving around. D minor. Right, so it's, and that's it. Then we have this little motif. And if you check what's going on there, this is actually chords again. It's just minor chords moving parallel. Right? So that's another cool thing that you can do with this parallel chords concept. That is, you can just play a melody and dress that melody with this harmony, and you start moving around, and you can really modulate and get some interesting mix of scales here. That's one thing you can do. Let me play. Then we get this little action thing here. Very common John Williams stuff. It's just a little bit. It's just a little ostinato going on. A lot of brasses, hits. Something that he does a lot with the brasses is try to be unpredictable with the hits and just keep you guessing. At the same time, it feels very natural. He does that really cool. You don't wanna stay too long in the same group. That he wouldn't do that. Again, pattern harmony, same concept. This is actually kind of a call and response to the other thing that we did before. And of course, we have a lot of runs, a lot of hard runs, hard runs. Listen to this one. This is a diminished scale. It goes really well with this kind of harmony. And when I say this kind of harmony, I mean just minor chords moving around. Keep going. Then we get this hit. Alright. So this kind of harmony here, you know, it's just a dramatic moment here. So if I played it in the piano, I think it's a C major, but I'm playing an F sharp bass. So you can analyze this in many different ways, depending on the context that you're playing or the style. You know, like people in jazz would call it one thing, people in classical music would call it something else. It's kind of the same thing at the end. And you know, I think this is a pretty clear reference to something that happens in planets. If you listen to planets, you know, Mars, which is, I think every film composer knows it. This is a typical explosion, and it's a nice chord because it's a lot of tension going on there, and there's quite a few things going on. Well, you know, first the bass is a tritone away from the chord, so that's already very dissonant. It gets a nice tension going on with this chord, and then the other reason I think you get that cool tension is because we can explain this also as a parallel chords. Because if you listen to this sounds almost like this, very similar, and this is just two parallel chords playing at the same time. So it's kind of almost like poly-chords theory. Very common. Again, same thing. So you could say that you're playing two major chords here separated by the tritone, right? That's kind of the same concept. I'm only playing the bass, but you know, the fifth is implied. It's such a low chord that you can kind of hear the harmonics. See? Not much difference. And then you have the third. I'm not playing it here, but still it's pretty close. So that's a cool way to have a nice explosion there, and you can move this parallel, and then you get some cool stuff going on. You know. It kind of sounds a little retro when you go there, like classic film score and stuff. But you know, that's the same concept. And you don't have to play the major chord. You can actually add a lot of tensions here and make it more interesting. You know, you could play the C sharp as well. You know, you could play with the tensions and get some complex voicings there, but the base of the sound is kind of the same. So let me keep going. Yeah. similar. This is just this chord is C sharp minor, but the bass is just C. The same concept. We have a big dissonance here. You know, I'm playing the bass here. There's a nice distance between the voices and the bass. Like if I was to play here, sorry, here, it sounds even more dissonant. But here you can kind of get away because the harmonics aren't crashing as much. So here again, this is you can explain this in many ways, but one thing I'm hearing here, so it's just poly-chords as well, kind of the same concept. If you watch the video, there's a little moment there when we see the Jedi Lee, which by the way that's Geddy Lee from Rush. It looks pretty mean. Then we get this. You know this. Yeah. You know, that's pretty much kind of very similar to that little thing. So it's another of the ostinatos that John Williams that likes to do. Keep going. That was the ending, and same thing. We have parallel chords. If we just play the brasses, you'll hear very clear what's going on. There's just 3 major chords moving up on all steps. Right, and you have a little bit of dissonance on the bottom. It's such a predictable sequence, you know, when you have that you can mess around a little bit with the bass and still sound interesting and add a little bit of tension on top. Actually, the first chord is actually minor. So that was what I was saying before. You know, you can do this and it works pretty similar, but if I actually play the first one minor, it sounds a little bit darker, just a touch darker. And it's kind of the same concept. I'm just using parallel harmony here. I'm not even thinking about the keys, but I'm mixing minor and major now, and you can keep doing that and do a lot of cool stuff. So this is very, very standard. This is a happy ending, right? Then we get some rush going on. So YYC kind of thing. Then the orchestra playing. And then again, parallel harmony over rush. You get Star Wars meets rush. Same thing. So something very cool here. If you listen to the woodwinds, so that little thing is also parallel harmony. It's just this patch here. This is a patch that is just playing triads. Listen to this. See? That's what I'm doing. So a nice way to experiment with this concept is just, you know, creating a patch or playing one of these patches that are already playing the full chords and just playing around. Like this is a minor or chord already. This is very clearly a moment in Indiana Jones. Then you have the major version. This is the same thing. It's just playing major chords when you play it, this patch and this range. Very, very much like a John Williams in Star Wars. And you can really go deeper. You can start mixing major and minor chords, doing some more complex voicing, and also play with the parallel concept. So, for instance, I could play this. This is a major chord, and I'm playing also a major chord here. Then I can play the minor over major. And you hear this voice? It sounds a lot like Stravinsky. I mean, obviously you will have to voice it better because there's some voices that are clashing because the two ranges are so close. You probably want to keep the orchestration a little bit more open, so notes, because you're gonna have some notes that are playing very close, so you wanna spread them a little bit better. But in this case, you kind of hear the idea. For instance, if I play, listen to this. This is a major chord, and I'm playing the minor here, so C minor over A flat, which is pretty much, again, you can analyze this differently. You can call it just poly-chords playing, one on top of the other, or you can just call it tensions that are playing over the A flat chord. But this is more fun just to play it like this. I'm sure you're familiar with this progression. So if I play it on the piano right now, you'll see a little bit more clearly the things that you can do, mixing minor, major, or tensions or whatever. Just playing with the parallel chord concept. So for instance, if I'm playing D minor and I extend this, you could call it just minor 6, right? It's just this chord here. But if I think about it just as two different chords playing, kind of poly-chords concept, and I just go parallel. You get this sequence. And this is very John Williams. I think Indiana Jones does something like this. Right? Yeah, so that's one of the examples that you can do, and again, you can go much complex and do this parallel concept. So play around with this. It's not necessarily just to emulate John Williams sound. It's something that you can really elaborate. It works well when you want to address a melody, when you want to do cool modulation, when you want to experiment, and most of the time I'm not even thinking about a key. I'm just thinking about relationships, and the way the music works for me is that I'm not thinking about theory. I'm just thinking about what sounds good and how you can justify something, anything, melody or whatever. And there's always something that if it works, there's some kind of logical explanation, and parallel chords can help you justify many different progressions, modulations. So it's a nice trick to have. Okay, so that's it. That's pretty much the concept. Is something that you can explain in many ways. Like I said before, it depends on the context of the music. It depends if you want to explain it through jazz or through classical music, but it's the same. It's just the same sound that you're gaining, and it's definitely something that you can incorporate to your music. You probably do it even if you didn't know this concept. I'm sure you have been using it, but it's nice to know it so you can play with it. So hope you enjoy, and see you around.